Meanwhile, speaking of the United Nations General Assembly session, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called for international support as the country is dealing with one of the most devastating floods in its history. Listen to what he said.
Our glaciers are melting fast, our forests are burning, and our heat waves have crossed 53 degrees Celsius, making us the hottest place on the planet. And now, Mr. President, now we live through an unprecedented monster monsoon. It is literally a monsoon on steroids, as the UN Secretary General described it most befittingly. It is on steroids. One thing is very clear. What happened in Pakistan will not stay in Pakistan. As the Secretary General so candidly says, hotspots like Pakistan fall in the 10 most climate vulnerable list of countries, but emit less than 1% of the greenhouse gases that are burning our planet. It is therefore entirely reasonable to expect some approximation of justice for this loss and damage, not to mention building back better with resilience and strength. Clearly, the time for talk about action has passed.
Now, the Pakistani Prime Minister also spoke about how his government has spent millions of dollars on the climate crisis and also how the people are witnessing nature's fury with no fault of their own.
₹70 billion, or almost $300 million from our own pocket we are spending on this program. But at this point, the gap between our urgent needs and available resources is increasing by the day and amplified by the sheer unprecedented scale of this disaster. Our manpower and resources are totally overwhelmed and overstretched. The question to raise here is quite simple. Why are my people paying the price of such high global warming through no fault of ours? We have no contribution in this. Nature has unleashed her fury on Pakistan without looking at our carbon footprint, which is next to nothing.
Meanwhile, aid agencies estimate that it will take up to about 6 months for the floodwaters to recede in some of the hardest hit areas in Pakistan. Now, fears, of course, arise over the threat of waterborne diseases and the safety of millions of people, including women and children. While Sharif's focus was largely on climate havoc looming large across Pakistan, like his predecessor, he did make certain interesting comments on the Indian territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, Sharif spoke about the situation in Afghanistan as well. He said that Pakistan would like to see Afghanistan at peace with itself and with the world, and has called on the West to release the frozen Afghan funds, which he says are essential to revive Afghanistan's banking system. And our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik has been tracking the story pretty closely for us and has sent us this report from New York. Listen in.
Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif spoke at the United Nations General Assembly, and where his emphasis were on multiple issues, but mainly it was to do with climate change and the fact that the impact of that climate change has had in the country and the recent flood fury that has wreaked havoc across Pakistan. He also touched upon dialogue with India and had a mention about Kashmir as expected along expected lines. Besides that, he also spoke about relations with Afghanistan and how the funding of Afghanistan needs to be released, whereas Afghan interim authorities have to ensure rights to women and Afghan girls. On the other hand, he also spoke about the western side, relations with the West and the Middle Eastern bit as well, where he touched upon during his address. Anas Malik in UN in New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.